GameStop is at $240 a share now, or $500 or $10, depending on when you're watching this. Time to think like an investor. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Josh here, and today something has been on my mind. It's keeping me up at night, and it's the fact that 75% of the viewers who watch this channel are not subscribed. So if you guys find any values in these videos whatsoever, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. The last 24 hours have been an absolute whirlwind. GameStop stock has been absolutely all over the place. We've seen kind of this battle between Reddit and Wall Street, and now the SEC is getting involved. And the big story is that RobinHood, which is this free trading app, and it's funny, the name's like steal from the rich, give to the poor. And now what they're doing is they're taking these retail traders and restricting them from the free market. They're restricting them from buying shares of GameStop and AMC and BlackBerry and these companies that have been targets. Now, in yesterday's video, I gave a little bit of backstory about what's going on with all these things and how this really transpired. But the reality of the situation is, a brief summary if you don't know, is that a large hedge fund took a big short position. They were betting against GameStop, and then essentially all of Reddit and RobinHood got together and decided, oh, we can actually squeeze you if we all just buy against you, and now you're gonna lose money and your hedge fund's gonna go defunct, and that's essentially what happened. But today, the bigger story is the fact that now, given this market manipulation and the fact that Reddit and all these Wall Street bets traders are getting together to potentially manipulate stocks where they wouldn't have been otherwise, and how hedge funds have been doing this forever, and there's all this different drama going around. The big story is that RobinHood is restricting traders from buying these companies. Well, over time, Wall Street has kind of garnished the reputation that it can get whatever it wants. It can use unfair information advantages. It can, network its way to business owners and get insider trading information that allows it to profit at the expense of retail investors. Now, I think what we're seeing in the world is this decentralization. We have people who can get together on Reddit. They don't need to be a super smart hedge fund manager. They can get a bunch of people in one place and almost manipulate the price of a stock. And now this has become all the drama because whereas hedge funds and large financial institutions on Wall Street have been maybe manipulating markets or using those sorts of strategies for a very long time, the second the retail trader, the second the little guy starts to pull the same moves, now all of a sudden it's unfair. Now we have to start restricting trading, and now we have to make sure that market manipulation doesn't happen. Now, I think this is part of a bigger issue that starts a little bit earlier. Back in 2008, if you haven't heard much about this story, I highly suggest you read up on it. If you want the easiest primer, just go watch The Inside Job. It's a documentary that tells you exactly what happened in 2008. But generally speaking, a lot of these institutional investors and investment banks took a bunch of risk where if it paid off, they would get rewarded, but if it lost, they would essentially just get bailed out by the government, and the taxpayer would end up having to fork over the money to recover those losses. And that creates a big seething resentment in our culture. It creates like this class warfare kind of thing. We had Occupy Wall Street and we had Down with the Banks, this whole sort of thing. And now we see this kind of happening again, where it seems that market manipulation is fair for the big guys and not for the small guys. And this is the big argument that's happening right now, is should we be restricting the free market and the average trader's ability to buy the stocks that they want? Now, I wanna be balanced here and give you my actual perspective. The reality is, I think a lot of people are starting to realize that Robinhood free trading isn't so free, right? You gotta take a little bit of ownership here. If you are using a product that costs no money, that means that you are the product. If you use Google or Facebook, what's happening is you're using that product for free, and they're selling essentially your eyeballs to advertisers. You could think of it that way. And with Robinhood, it's a free app, and that means that you're the product. The way that Robinhood makes money is they sell your data, they sell your order flow to hedge funds who can then front run you. So all I'm saying here is there's a little ownership for people who are using Robinhood and now are all upset and up in arms that Robinhood has taken these measures to limit the average guy's ability to make a good trade. What a lot of people don't understand about a free trading app like Robinhood is that the way that it makes money, if it's not charging you commissions, is by selling your order flow. So it sees that you're placing an order, and then it will route that to a hedge fund like Citadel, one of the characters in our story. So what you can see here is that maybe Robinhood is restricting trading because it's not benefiting their business partner, Citadel, who's betting against the Robinhood traders, if that kind of makes sense. It's almost as if Robinhood is directly kind of in bed with the hedge fund that Robinhood's customers are trying to bet against. So as you can likely tell, this creates a ton of uproar across the political spectrum. It's super funny, like whether you're like a socialist or an anarchist or a conservative, everybody's kind of coming together. Today I saw a tweet where AOC and Ted Cruz were getting along on Twitter because they were both against Wall Street, down with the big hedge funds. And they actually, it's funny to think that maybe Wall Street bets and Robinhood and this whole catastrophe is actually bringing our country together. Now, I seriously doubt that. This is creating some serious divides, but it's crazy to think about the amount of firepower and political influence behind this issue. But the big theme here in my mind is this idea of decentralization. And what I mean by that is, in most things in life, we have some central institution that we go to have something done. If it's banking, you go to the bank. If it's a school, you go to the school. But when we have this whole idea of blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies where things are becoming decentralized, now we can transfer money without a bank in between, and we might be able to one day get our news without having to go to a news company. It's like news on the blockchain. All these sorts of different ideas of how we can decentralize our society, which is really interesting because it's almost as if Wall Street bets is like a decentralization of the retail trading community. And now they've all kind of gotten together using the power of the internet to start manipulating markets and changing the dynamics of the market. Now, this is case in point exactly what cryptocurrency is for. If, in my opinion, if this is really good for anything, it's probably cryptocurrency. Because right now, it's the people versus the establishment. Wall Street bets versus the hedge funds, and versus Wall Street itself. And over time, this manipulation, whether it's Robinhood restricting trades or hedge funds manipulating markets, this might lead to something where we have a decentralized investment market, where trades no longer have to go through an exchange, but stocks are exchanged directly between people. So what I think is super interesting about this whole thing is how it's reinforcing this desire for decentralization, for blockchain, for cryptocurrencies. And that also relates to the censorship of Wall Street bets. You see, one of the great uses for something like Bitcoin is that you can transact without having anybody manipulate your currency. And Wall Street bets is case in point because there was a group of people who got together and they started doing research and they started talking amongst each other. And once they became powerful enough, I believe there was almost 2 million people on Wall Street bets kind of acting with each other, and 51% of Robinhood accounts had GameStop in their account. So this isn't some small thing, this is millions of people getting together. And the second they have enough power to maybe challenge the establishment, well, now it's shut down, and now the SEC is on their case, and now the Wall Street Bets Forum goes completely private. That now has us here in a place where decentralization looks better than anything. So this is such an interesting development, and I want to continue to monitor this story as it progresses, but there are some massive lessons here that we can all take away from this. I mean, first things first, if the product is free, you are the product. And maybe it's a good idea to do your research on where you're putting your money and how it might impact you if you're going to make big investments in some place like Robinhood. That's first things first. Second thing, selling short, betting against companies is extremely dangerous. None of these hedge fund managers are stupid people. Like, these are top business school, got their CFA, worked in the business forever, worked in risk management, understand all these things. And they have never even for 1 second thought that maybe this trade could go against them to this extent where it would dissolve their entire fund. Betting against companies is super risky because the company can only go down to zero, but it can go up forever. And for that reason, your risk is unlimited. And lastly, the one thing I always learn over and over again is that the market and the prices of things like GameStop or AMC or BlackBerry, they are all driven completely by emotion in the short term. In the short term, it has nothing to do with the underlying business. People are piling into these stocks without any thought as to what the business is about. They're piling into the stock as an FU to Wall Street and to make a statement. But anyways, guys, that's the take on what's going on today. Tons of news coming out. I just wanted to weigh in and give you my 2 cents. If you're getting any value from these videos whatsoever, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and turn on post notifications for more videos just like this one every single week. Until next time.